daughter and I went and saw a couple of string quintets today. The Australian Chamber Orchestra in the Hamer Hall, and this is not about that. This is about the seeming health of my fellow Australians, or at least 1,000 or so of them. I don't think I've heard anything like it in my life. The two pieces we saw, Schubert's string quintet, and Beethoven's quintet in C-sharp minor. Each of them has plenty of space in between the notes. So if anybody in the audience was to even sniffle, you'd hear it all over the place. Hamer Hall in Melbourne here has beautiful acoustics. It's amazing. And if one person were to cough at any point in time during either of those pieces, you'd hear it all over the place. Now, normally when you go and see a show, you do get the occasional person coughing or whatever, or maybe a little tiny little sneeze, or the little like that, someone desperately trying to suppress a cough or whatever. Now, but today it was surreal. I'm pretty sure I've never seen it before or heard it before. These two quintets, they're long. They're as long as sort of a symphony, really, each. And it was surreal because there's some really quiet moments in each of these quintets. And I just looked around, and we were towards the back, and I looked around, and everyone was absolutely silent. You could have heard a pin drop, but you couldn't because there were no pins being dropped. It was that quiet, and it really made a difference. I think the performers would have loved it because it was surreal. You could really just, in those moments where the music would stop for a bit, or the quiet bits, you couldn't even hear anyone breathing. They all looked elderly. Maybe they were all dead, but they weren't. They were just quiet. And I put this down maybe to the pandemic, because we haven't got any coronavirus here, but because we've been taking so many steps to avoid coronavirus, I think people are more healthy than they normally are. In a crowd like that, Hamer Hall, I have no idea what the capacity is, but it's huge. So there had to have been thousands of people there. A couple of thousand, I don't know, 1,500, I don't know. And for the entire 2 hours, I didn't hear one cough, not even a suppressed cough. I didn't hear one sniffle. There were times there during the performance where the whole room was utterly silent. It was beautiful, actually, and but I think it says something about the health of the average Australian at the moment. Are we more flu-free than we've ever been? It seemed like that today. We had thousands of people there, and they all seemed absolutely flu-free, cold-free, everything-free. They were all able to sit there, motionless. I would have thought they were dead, except at the end, well, there were not three encores, but 3 rounds of applause, no encores, but, called back out on the stage. So the big cheer, and it was a sustained cheer. Oh, because it was the first performance of the Australian Chamber Orchestra in something like 15 months, I think they said. So it's been out of action because, what's his name, Tongan Yeti or whatever. I've seen him before, I'm sure, in symphonies or whatever. When he came on at the start, he said, "Welcome back," or something like that. In other words, it's been a while. I think he mentioned it's been 14 or 15 months since the Australian Chamber Orchestra has even played. It was very nice. And the applause at the end was thunderous. It really was. It seemed like all those people, most of whom would be regulars, I'm not, they seemed rapt to be back.